Welcome to Lynn's Romance Library. We are going to be talking about my June TBR. So I'm very excited. This is summer. I officially have a ton of time to read. So I am excited to share with you what I'm hoping to get to in the month of June. So I showed this in May, and so I think I'm just going to make it a regular thing. I'm going to show you a quick look at my bullet journal spread. I'm not fancy enough to show you how I make it, and obviously I'm not super artistic, but I also posted this to my Instagram. Let's get it to focus. So we're doing kind of a leafy, jungly theme, and I'm really proud of this one. It turned out really good. So we will talk about the books I want to read as well. So first up, I have Bound to the Shadow Prince by Ruby Dixon. This is an advanced reader copy that I acquired through NetGalley. Ruby Dixon is one of my favorite authors of all time. I really enjoyed the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I'm reading Ice Home series. I've read some of the Rizdiverse, so I am quickly approaching and attacking Ruby Dixon's backlist. I also really love the Half-Orcs Maiden Bride. That one's behind me, so you can't quite see it on my shelves. But I really love Ruby Dixon. This is a fantasy standalone. The basic premise is that our hero and heroine end up forced to live with one another kind of in a tower, isolated, but they're enemies, and eventually they become closer. But as they get closer, their time together is also approaching to an end. This is, as I said, kind of a fantasy. I think it has some Rapunzel tones to it, but I could be wrong. But this is actually already widely released. It was serialized on one of the websites that does serialized writing. And the audiobook is available on Hoopla. If you don't know, Ruby Dixon really prioritizes getting all of her books on audio really quickly, and you can typically find them on Hoopla. So it has been around, but this is specifically an arc I'm getting for the print version. So I'll be interested to see what it is. The couple of things I have heard is that it is lengthy. So I'll be interested to see if it reads like it's long or if it's going to read fast, even though it does have a lot of pages to it. So that's the first book I'm really excited to get to. The second one, I actually have my physical copy. It came in today. I'm so excited. Is Leather and Lark by Brynne Weaver. I read Butcher and Blackbird last December, I believe. I had missed it coming off of KU when it was still indie, but I got an ARC copy for the traditionally published version that was re-released. So I really enjoyed Butcher and Blackbird. I read it on the earliest side, so it was before it was uber hyped. I'm really excited for Leather and Lark. So this follows, the first book covers two rival serial killers that meet by chance. And I think that's really all you need to know. This covers the brother of our hero and the best friend of our heroine. We don't know a ton about these characters. Our hero, Leather is his nickname, I believe is an enforcer or serial killer and has mob ties. I believe that's what we've got going on with him. And then Lark, we learned just a smidgy about. Obviously, she knows about her best friend being a serial killer, but there has been a string of people that associated with her family that have disappeared. And that's about all we know going into the story from reading book one. I'm not reading the back of the book. I really don't know what the tropes are. I think there is a marriage of convenience, which I would be very excited for. And I believe it's going to be leaning towards the slow burn side. So I'm very excited about this, clearly, because I've been chatting about it for quite a minute. I also am buddy reading this with Tiffany from Tiff Talks Pages on YouTube / Netherland Pixie on Instagram. We buddy read a book every month or every other month, depending on kind of our schedules and our interest in finding another book to buddy read. So we both like Brynne Weaver, so we're going to buddy read this. She doesn't have her copy yet, so I will have to sit on this for a hot minute. Also, if you love reading sprints, Tiffany and I will be having reading sprints on Tiffany's channel, Tiff Talks Pages. I do not have that written in front of me, but I believe off the top of my head, it's Tuesday the 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I believe that's 4 p.m. Her time, but keep an eye out for graphics and me sharing stuff about that. So I'm very excited. If you don't know, our reading sprints are loosely reading sprints. They're mostly us chatting. We do try and get some reading in, but we tend to have fewer sprints and more chatting time. So if you enjoy that and getting a behind the scenes of us and our shenanigans, feel free to join that as well. So the next book that is on my TBR is Richter's Scale. I hope I'm saying that right, by Dalia Davies. This I saw reposted, I believe, by Romantically Inclined on Instagram. She does a lot of memes and funny reels and stuff, and she had this one come up, or whoever I saw it from. The premise really got me because this is a mail order bride alien romance. So our hero is an alien. He's on a planet that has very few women, and we don't 100% know why at the beginning of the series, but they have made this arrangement with Earth to bring in Earth women to help repopulate the species. And our heroine kind of has been obsessed with this alien race since they were discovered and they were incorporated into American culture. And it's kind of like one of those things where everyone thinks that they're so hot and gorgeous, and like, so she is kind of her goal ever since she found out about this alien race is, how do I get there? Which same. So she gets put into this mail order bride situation, and there's some snafus, and they end up meeting, but they're not actually the correct pairing, but there is a mating bond that clicks into place. And so in the bio they say the one that she was supposed to get paired with comes knocking. So there's a lot of interesting dynamics. I've actually already started this. It's very interesting because in this case, the reason for the lack of women has to do with a animal that is living on that planet. And his role is to help mitigate and control this animal's existence within the planet to protect the people living there. So it's really interesting, and she's got kind of a hidden identity and spy angle going on. There's a lot of interesting things. I'm not sure how it's all going to come together, but so far it's very entertaining. I already started this because I was in the mood for alien romance. So next up, I have Magic Slays by Ilona Andrews. This is a writing duo of a husband and wife, and this is part of the Kate Daniels series. So this follows our heroine, Kate Daniels, who has significant magical powers. She used to work for a mercenary guild. So there's kind of three ruling powers that kind of are in charge of keeping the peace in this post-apocalyptic Atlanta. Basically, there is a balance between magic and technology, and in the olden days, there was a huge swing towards magic, and magic fell, and technology came in and swept its place. But technology then compensated and took over, and it's a pendulum that swings back and forth between magic and technology. And so now it's roughly every day or every 2 or 3 days, the switch between technology and magic occurs. And so you have a very interesting hybrid society that has a lot of mythical creatures, but also has elements of technology. It's a very fascinating world. This follows Kate, who has significant magic, and she's on the run / hiding from this bad character. And this is book 5 in the series. So I'm not going to say too much more than that, but she does have a love interest, and they have an overarching romance plot across the series. In book 4, they officially got together, But now moving forward, it's more of what are their dynamics, and there's always kind of a mystery or mythical thing going on in the background of every one of their stories. This is definitely leans more fantasy and sci-fi than just romance. So keep that in mind. But I love this series. I read them on audiobook using graphic audio. They produce the audiobooks kind of like a movie. Their slogan is a movie inside your mind. So every character has a different voice actor. There's sound effects. It's a very immersive experience. I highly recommend that company for audiobooks, but I highly also recommend the Kate Daniels series. And so I'm looking forward to read the next one when I get a chance in June. And the last kind of book that I want to read that's kind of for, that I know I like the author, I'm excited to read it, is Rushing In by Claire Kingsley. This is book 4 in the Bailey Brothers. This is a spin-off from the Miles family. So the Bailey Brothers is a series that follows a group of brothers that live in this small town. I think it's Tillicum. And the town is absolutely precious. There are renegade squirrels going around, small antics. There's rival families. And this one is our hero, one of the Bailey brothers, works at the fire station. And his chief's daughter is kind of looking to get away, is leaving a bad situation. I forget the details of it. And on a whim calls up her kind of estranged dad and is like, can I stay with you for a little bit of time in order to get this fresh start? And the fire chief / her dad entrusts our hero to kind of help her feel welcome, but she's a little bit forbidden. But there's obviously attraction, but she's a little bit forbidden because it's her boss's daughter. So really interesting. I love Claire Kinsley's writing and her books and her characters. They're always so swoony. I really enjoy them. So I'm looking forward to picking up this book in the Bailey Brothers series. Now, switching gears, as I said, am trying to read a bunch of new authors before going to the Authors in the Bluegrass signing. I pick out about 4 authors every month, depending on what my TBR is looking like, and I use a random number generator to help me do that. I want it to be completely random, so once I know the author, I have to figure out what book I'm going to pick by them. Okay, so we'll see what I remember of this, because most of these books I have flagged on Hoopla, so we'll see if I remember all of the books right. If not, enjoy the ride. So the first author is Kim Jones. This author seems to write kind of edgier, darker stuff. I believe she had a couple of MC stories, but the book that I picked appears to be a standalone, and it's called That Guy. And the premise sounded really interesting. I was kind of intrigued by what was said in the premise. Don't really remember super specifics, but it kind of is giving boss employee or maybe even billionaire vibes. So I'll be interested to try that one out. The next one is Cassandra Featherstone, and I believe the first one was called Road to the Hallows something. I'll have the book, obviously, but this one appears to be kind of a supernatural investigation FBI type story. So from the premise, basically the words FBI were what got me, and then paranormal. But it seems to be our heroine has really wanted to be in the FBI for a long time, is really interested in it, has like kind of made it this big goal. And she has been kind of declined at time and time again, and they won't give her a pretty straightforward answer on why she keeps getting declined. And so she goes on this kind of quest for information to find out more to figure out why she keeps getting denied. And then I believe there's some sort of finding the hidden aspects of the world. This one seems so interesting. I can't wait to figure out what it is. This seems to be a longer running a series that follows the same person and or couple over multiple books. The first book is novella-ish length. I want to say the audiobook was like 5 hours on Hoopla. And then you have the next book. I think the series in total might be like 4-ish books, but she may also be writing in this world still. So I'm very intrigued. I can't wait to hear more, see what this book's all about. Violet Taylor, she has a bunch of fantasy series. The one that I think I'm most interested to pick up from her is of Fate and Frost, or Fate and Frost, Fire and Frost. There's something Frost. This is going to be a heroine that I believe has ice powers or ice something or another, and then a shifter. And she is kind of hiding her powers, and then she ends up being discovered, and she ends up under the protection of this shifter. And she's kind of forbidden goods, but their attraction goes from there. I will caveat this by saying Violet Taylor does not have stuff on KU, and she does not appear to be on Hoopla. And so that will be kind of a determining factor on whether or not I get to her works this month, because I typically would not want to pay money for an author that I don't know if I like their work. So we'll just see if I get to that one, because I would have to purchase the ebook for that. Hopefully my angle didn't change. I had to close out of filming to look at what book I had picked and refresh my memory. So the last one for Authors in the Bluegrass is Melissa Ivers. She primarily writes sports romance. She has a hockey series, and it looks like a football series. There might be more books in there. But I ended up picking False Start, which is the first in a football series. This is a series that is a bunch of authors writing within the same world. So I can't say where the story starts, but it was a football romance. I believe there was something to do with kind of a fake relationship or an antagonistic relationship. I will say sports romances, they feel very repetitive. They all have very similar premises. So I will see how I enjoy this, but I am a little skeptical, because that is a critique that I typically have of sports romances, which, I mean, fair. Like, a lot of alien romances feel the same, but I love alien romances, so it doesn't bother me as much. So those are the 9 books that I plan on prioritizing this month. As I mentioned, I am planning on buddy reading Leather and Lark with Tiffany from Tiff Talks Pages, and we will be having reading sprints. I believe it is the 18th at 7 p.m. of June. So it's a Tuesday. I know it's a Tuesday. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider sticking around. I tend to be a little sporadic on posting, but I will never completely disappear. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So thanks for watching. Bye.